First off, I don't care what you people say. Never follow rules, I'm a trendsetter anyway. Okay, I march to the beat of my own drum. They say I need rules in my life, well I got some. That's 1, kill the competition. 2, be a loyal dog. 3, and if they snitching on your man, send them to the morgue. 4, when you party, go hard till you hit the floor. 5, if you didn't see me do it, what the hell you asking for? Welcome to my world. SINA.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Llama Show. I'm the Big Llama, guys. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream. I'm back from my cruise and I'm excited to be here. We come to you live every Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch at BLKOUT_AD. And let me bring out my co-host extraordinaire, Blackout AD. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you this fine evening?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up? Before we get things started, I wanted to do something a little odd, and then we do have to talk about the Tyson Jake Paul fight, the Jon Jones UFC bout, the fight card, the Netflix issues. There's a lot of good topics to talk about, so we're going to talk about those for sure. But I do want to start off just by sharing something, and it's just something personal. And I just kind of want to take a moment, and unfortunately what's weird, and I don't know if I believe that it's like absolutely true or how this all works, right? But this is episode 178, and I'm not gonna cry there, AD. So don't. And before I do this other thing, I do have a surprise for AD. I don't. Again, here's the one thing I've learned to sort of temper my feelings in terms of how I think AD will react to a surprise or to something that I've done. So if AD jumps out of his chair, that would be great. If AD says, "Oh, that's cool," and and we move on, I'm going to feel the same either way. But anyway, I'm kind of preparing myself not to get like over, because I thought it was a cool thing, but I can't wait to share it with you. So I have a surprise for you at some point during the broadcast. So. But before I get to that, I do want to say something about a friend of mine that I lost this week. I just want to share my screens real quick. Hold on, where is... Okay, here we go. So I just want to share my screens real quick. So this is my good buddy, Frankie. I've known him since the 4th grade, and he unexpectedly passed away this last week. I got back, I got a phone call from his sister, and she told me that he had passed, which again was, and that's a picture of me. That's actually me in the upper right-hand corner in 5th grade, and that's him in the lower left-hand corner. The reason I said this is a little weird that it's episode 178, his actual football number was 78. It's quite a coincidence. It was really weird, and I kind of was thinking about that, and I said, okay, well, I at least want to just talk about him just briefly at the beginning of the show, because he did mean a lot to me, and I just want to make sure everyone knows that, and I can at least, this is the one thing I can do to sort of share my thoughts on this guy. This is a picture of myself and my crew in high school as I'm rocking the Sonics jersey with actual hair, AD. So you appreciate that. He's right there next to me. He was actually a groomsman at my wedding. He was there when I proposed to my wife, which my wife is in the back there by the Jeep with some other dude, some redhead dude. I don't know who that guy is. But anyway, so he's actually been around since 4th grade. And again, he passed unexpectedly. That's me with him. That's just his father right there. That's my old coach. He actually was my football coach for 4 years. But he actually took me in like a father figure, because if you've heard stories, my father wasn't the greatest dad ever. And this guy treated me like a son. And so they kind of took me in. So that's his dad right there. He was our coach, and that's him there next to me on the right. And again, I'm just feeling kind of sad about the fact that I lost this guy. Later on, he meets my family. He used to live in Washington, D.C. That's me with him there. So like, this guy has been in my life for, 30 plus years. That's him and I sort of rekindling, like, hey, we just met again. So again, I'm just feeling really, really down. Again, I had a great weekend, had a great time, but got this news when I got back this week, and I just kind of want to say, that I miss the guy, and I'm going to miss him, and his services are this week. I plan to go down to for the services and see his family and pay my respects. But again, I don't want to bring the show down, and I'm not going to, but I want to just at least acknowledge that I lost my friend, and I'm going to miss the guy. So it's Frankie is my boy there, and again, unexpectedly lost him. So just wanted to say I'm going to miss the guy. All right. So sorry to do that to the show. Pump the brakes there. I know you can't follow that, AD, but but it's important. It's important for me to get that out there. So thank you, Katie, for acknowledging that right there, and thank you, Katie, for always joining us. All right. So big weekend, big weekend for fighting, big weekend for boxing and for MMA. So we had the Tyson Paul fight, plagued with lots of issues. I wanted to get your take on it. You know my feelings on Jake Paul. So what did you think? Did you watch the fight, or did you watch the highlights? What did you think?
Well, first of all, sorry for your loss. I just kind of want to give you your moment.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't want to make a joke or nothing,
No. I respect that.
But the fights. I was working. It was bro, at the end of the day, the people are gonna tune into this kid fight. I mean, we, every time we talk about it, I've kind of just come to terms with, like, we're gonna keep seeing him fight whoever he wants to fight. We're gonna keep tuning in for whatever reason. Now, this time was a little different because it felt like a big fight, especially on Friday. We were busy at work, like, mind you, I work in a sports bar, and we actually showed the fight in the sports bar. And so I got to see, like, it was a weird, like, obviously I pay attention to shit. So it was kind of cool because I got to actually, like, experience, like, I was like, all right, let's see what the people are, like, kind of, like, tuned into. Obviously the Netflix issues were going on, but I don't think they were prepared for how many people were actually going to watch this fight. And that's what I think was, like, I don't know. It felt like it was going to be a special night, but then it also felt like it could have been what it was, a dud. I mean, the fight itself ended up just kind of being Jake Paul fighting Tyson, an old version of Tyson that looked slow, that looked like, just didn't look like a good fight. He looked, honestly, way worse than he did a couple years ago when he fought Roy Jones. Like, he looked a lot better. If he would have came out like that version, it probably would have been a little bit more entertaining of a fight. I think there was a point in the fight where Jake Paul was like, yeah, I'm not gonna really try to push this any further because it probably didn't feel right. Like, I'm sure once you get in the ring, the first round is probably a little competitive. Then the second round is like, all right, he's slowing down. Nothing he's doing is really hurting me. I mean, and then again, there's the flip side of it. You can also look at it like Jake Paul couldn't finish an old man, but I don't think it would have been a good look if he did, like, knock Tyson out, especially how Tyson looked. So it was kind of weird because it felt like it was going to be a big fight. And then obviously, again, we were watching it in the restaurant, and we're busy as fuck, like, the whole day. The whole fight card, we were busy. So it was kind of, I was like, all right, people are, like, tuned in. Everybody knows it's on Netflix. And even though it's on Netflix and you can watch it at home, people still went out for it, And then you start seeing that, like, oh yeah, the it's just buffering. It's just buffering. People were coming back, like, you would hear the people in the bar just boo. What I mean? Boo. So it was, like, kind of interesting to see that aspect of it. But we were actually watching it on, like, a stream, like a fucking a random stream, and it was working fine. So
yeah. No, so I'll have to concede this, right? Obviously, Jake Paul can sell the hell of a fight, right? Like it was a spectacle. Like,
it was also Mike Tyson, dude. No, it was Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and it was on a free thing. I think that has a lot to do with why it felt so big. But you got to understand, Netflix is trying to go. I think this was good for Netflix, even though I saw people like you all weekend like, making jokes. Oh, this is me watching a fight, which I thought was like low hanging fruit. I was like, what did you guys expect? It's a free live event on a platform that's never done that before with two big draws. No,
they've done
not
live
like
events,
this.
but not like this. No, you're right. You're right.
Not like this. A fucking live comedy roast is not this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even close. This is a fight, a Mike Tyson fight at that.
Yeah.
Where they sold the hell out of it in terms of like they made people believe Iron Mike was gonna knock this kid out. That's what they did. They made them believe. They pushed it to the point where, and Mike did well too, because he's had a lot of good sayings this week. A lot of good sayings this week. But yeah, they didn't know 60, bro. It was 64 million people tuning in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
64 million. That shit would. Twitch is an established live streaming program. 64 million might crash the site. You know what I'm saying? It might slow down a little bit. Like, I think people just were very naive on what this was. You know, that's kind of my take on it. Like, that's kind of my take on it. I just felt like people were just super naive. I was like, what do they expect? You know what I mean?
No,
like, this is the first time.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. I thought they were going to have some issues, but it was okay. So I will say this, for a company selling itself to the NFL, to other big, they want to host WrestleMania, and they want to host all these big events and, do the NFL and everything else. For them to have the issues that they had was not a good look, right? Fixable for sure, but it was not a good look. That's all. But they had mic issues. They had, just the broadcast itself had issues. It was not, forget the buffering. If you watched from beginning to end, the production of that event was terrible in terms of, like, you had the people on the mic, like, where are we? What's going on? What segment are we on? Like, that you heard that audibly throughout the thing, because they were not. And again, whether that's the production company running it, like Jake Paul's company, or whether it's Netflix, it just wasn't a good look for a live event. But the buffering issues did not help. And then the lackluster event fight itself, which was pretty boring, didn't help the perception of it. That's all, perception-wise. But you're right. It was a giant draw.
It's something that's never been done. It's something that's never been done. They sold out Cowboy Stadium. That's one. Number one, by far, is a sold out Cowboy Stadium. So you sell out a football stadium. Then you have 64 million people watching, tuning in. So this is the buffering issues. That is larger than a conference championship in the NFL last year, which was 55 million. So that's almost 10 million more viewers than a football game. You know what I'm saying? A big, not the NFL, not the Super Bowl, but pretty damn, close enough.
Right.
The production issues, that's just probably, like, to be honest, it's not high level production. You got to understand. That's another thing too. Like, this is a team of whoever Jake Paul's putting together alongside Netflix. But I don't think Netflix wasn't throwing this on. And also, even if Netflix did, they never throw a fucking fight before. So again, something that they've never done before. And then I think this is kind of a necessary evil, because they are doing WrestleMania, they are doing these football events, and they kind of needed to gauge what was happening. So this is kind of like a low event they can throw to just see, all right, what can our servers handle? And I think they got probably the biggest sample size they could have gotten. So
of course,
I think they make a lot of strides going forward. Like, I think people were just, again, it's a Jake Paul fight. To me, like, seeing you hate on it was just like, oh, you just wanted to hate on it. You were just gonna, you know what I mean? Like, in my perspective, because I just know you don't like the kid. So it's like,
no,
instead of looking at it from an analytical point of being like, well, you produce stuff. So imagine producing something on that scale. There's gonna be fuck ups, and, like, especially like when you're elevating to a level that you don't know. So I think, like, I don't know. I guess it's fair, but it was also a free event. Nobody paid for it. You know what I mean? It kind of was just like a test run for Netflix to see, let's see what the server, let's throw the biggest event we can, get the most eyes on this event. We'll test the servers out and we'll go forward from there. Because again, the footballs, the WrestleManias, those kind of events, can't afford to have a fuck up like this. If WrestleMania fucked up like this,
Oh
it'd
yeah,
be way
yeah.
worse. You know what I mean? It'd be like what the fuck happened? They throw events constantly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
what went wrong in that scenario? But I think for an event like this, where these events started 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube, and then elevates to pay-per-view, and now it's on Netflix, which again never been done. So I kind of look at it like a W for them, to be honest, even though it was not the most. It wasn't the most exciting. It got people out. Now, I don't think as much people would go out again for Jake Paul fight unless he's fighting fucking Canelo Alvarez. Like, that's the only time I think we'll get this kind of like feel again. But
yeah, no, I mean, the fight, from the fight perspective, yeah, I wanted to see. I think people were tuning in because that was the, at least in my in what I was reading, right, was the prevailing trend, right, of what was trending was people saying, I want to see him get knocked out. I want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. I want to see Mike Tyson win, whatever. Which again, that's from the fight perspective. And then I kept seeing that Jake Paul was the favorite, and then on the betting, in the betting circle. So I was like, okay, that's interesting, right? So from the fight perspective, I was like, it is what it is.
Wait. There's no way you thought Mike Tyson was the favorite.
No. I thought he was going to win.
No,
I thought he was going to win
on the betting.
Oh no! I didn't know anything about. I don't know anything about betting. I'm just saying. I just saw that they kept saying that he was the favorite.
It's fun. It's just funny because everybody was like, they were all saying that it's Mike Tyson, man. He's not going to lose to this kid. Like, that's such a again to me. I was just like looking at it and analyzing, like, you guys really just don't. You guys are like falling into what they're selling you guys. You know what I mean? Like, as somebody who watches real fight shit, I kind of been like picking up. All right, let's see what this event's kind of about. Because again, for Netflix, this is huge. Because if they can do this, why wouldn't the UFC try to get a deal with Netflix instead of ESPN? Make all their fights free and throw the biggest events. Why wouldn't they try to do something like that? Especially when an event like this is successful. But I feel like people were just so naive that Mike Tyson was 58. It's like, yeah, he might do something, but like realistically, he's probably gonna lose a decision. Like, that was like my thought. Everybody was asking me. They were like, what do you think? And I'm like, to be honest, like, it'll be cool to see him knock him out, but realistically, this is gonna go to a decision because I don't think Jake Paul was gonna knock Mike out, even at that old age. Like, and then I mean, obviously I didn't anticipate Mike being so, his age showed a lot. And I think that kind of like killed the mood for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody just saw, damn, this guy's old as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, he should not be doing this right now.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, what I had said before the fight months and months ago, I think was the public perception, which is if he knocks out Mike Tyson, he knocks out an old man. If he doesn't beat him, you're like, what are you doing, right? So he beats Mike Tyson, and now only think people, again, the running joke is that, oh, he's going to fight another retired fighter, he's going to fight another old man. Again, the perception in the public, and again, what's going around. But I don't really care because I truly don't like the guy, but I don't care about that. I'm just saying, when I was reading the stuff and I'm going, all right, whatever. But there's also now conspiracy theories that Mike threw the fight, or that they had it staged, but when you look at some of the stuff that they're presenting, it does make sense to some people, right? But to others, it might not. But I'm just saying, I don't know. It's just
Mike Tyson looked old as fuck. When you talk about boxing, he was trying the first round.
He was trying the first round, yeah. Okay. He won the first round.
Debatable, but no. After that, he didn't look the same as the first round. He wasn't the same athlete. If he looked the same the whole time, and then Jake wins like this, then it's like, yeah, I don't think, bro. You think Jake Paul needed Mike Tyson to stage the fight to win it? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I think how it played out is Jake realized Mike is too old. He's like, I'm not gonna fuck him up. I'll just win the fight. I'll just tag him. You know what I mean? We'll keep it like a sparring match. That's all it was. It was a sparring match. It wasn't a boxing match. It was a sparring match that there was no need to stage. I think that's just people trying to find, again, reasons to hate on the fucking kid. The kid just beat an old man. That's it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
He didn't do nothing more than just beat the old Mike Tyson, and they made a lot of money. They sold out that stadium. It looked good. You know what I mean? They did what they wanted to do, which was make money.
Yeah. Oh no,
They
definitely.
wanted, I think, in the beginning, like especially when Mike slapped him, I think he wanted to fight him, and then it just quickly changed. Like, what am I really doing? You know what I'm saying? Now, if
Yeah.
Jake really wanted people to hate him, I would have just knocked Mike out. I would have put the pedal, and if Mike hits me and puts me to sleep, then whatever. But if he really wanted people to hate him, like that's the only other narrative. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the talk around after the fight was just like, you guys got tricked, and now you guys are trying to make every excuse why you got tricked. That's how I look at it. Like, what? There's no realistic views online about the fight post fight. You know what I mean? It's a way different concept when you're looking at it.
I don't know. I would just say like the spectacle was there, the draw was there, the audience was there, all that stuff was good. But again, when after the aftermath of this, to me, for him, not for Tyson. Tyson gets his money and he walks away. And he's still Iron Mike Tyson. He still has his history. So like it doesn't tarnish it. He took a fight for money and then he walks away. It doesn't change the fact that he was one of the greats. So and he took a fight at 58 years old. No one's gonna say, oh my God, he's not he tarnished his legacy. But for Jake Paul, the depending on his career, what he wants to do with it, I think this hurts him a little bit in terms of the stuff that he wants to continue to do. But again, I looked up like 10 articles. They're talking about his contract. So again, it's not just me being a Jake Paul hater. It's across all types of industry. They're looking at things like the contract stipulations. They're looking at video footage. And again, different people, not me. I don't give a shit. But as I'm going through, no. But
I haven't
as I'm
seen
going,
any of that. Like,
but as I'm
from
going
somebody
through,
who's just watching it, I haven't seen none of that talk. So like, to
but
me,
but it's in my Twitter feed. I looked up articles. I'm just kind of prepping for the show. I'm like, all right, let me look at what's on the news for Tyson. What they talked about a contract. I hadn't seen a contract. Let me see if I can find it. And when you type in Tyson Jake Paul contract, you see like 15, 20 articles, major publications, all talking about look at the stipulations that were given. And a lot of them are saying that Tyson was supposed to make it to 8 rounds to get the full amount of the money. Like there's a lot of things that would say that, hey, it's kind of set up for Jake Paul to survive the match without Tyson being Tyson. But at the same time, he did look old, he did look tired, he did look weathered. But then again, but if you compare his training montages and all his videos and shit, he didn't do any of that shit. So like again, you can buy into it or not. I'm just saying. I mean, for Jake Paul, this is for me. It's gonna look ugly for him.
Are you gonna look better punching a pad or fighting somebody in front of a packed stadium? What do you think? You think you're gonna look better on a pad, stationary, nothing going on?
If
in a quick 5-second video, because the first round he looked like the training. He looked like it. He was moving. He was dodging punches. He was hitting them. And guess what? He was old as fuck. That's it.
But
one round. He had one
that's
round.
What I'm saying.
We saw the training footage that was 15 seconds, and we seen that in the fight. And then it was over. That's it. We saw what happened.
Saying either those are the best training montages we've ever seen, like just like clips, and it wasn't like well structured, like workouts, and it was just like, hey, here's a good 15 seconds of him, and that's great, and they sold it to you, and that's fine. But again, that's what they're comparing his performance to.
Listen,
and that's the problem.
You guys all got tricked to watch this fight. That's it. And you guys are mad about it. That's how that's it. There's no excuse. Like they went in, they made money. No, I'm saying the internet, the people you're looking up the articles, they're just talking shit about the fight. That's all it is. It's just negative talk about a successful event that they got you to watch. They sold you something, you guys bought it, and that's it. The contracts, all that, even if they were real, one is like, how do we really know these are real contracts?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We don't. And even if they are, these guys are businessmen. He's a YouTuber turned boxer. I don't understand why people there's real fighting. You can watch the UFC. And then there's fucking what Jake Paul does. Or if you want to watch boxing, watch Canelo. But Jake Paul is doing something completely different and had more eyes than a football game. Sold out a football stadium. He has more wins than the Cowboys in that on their own stadium.
That's true.
Like
This year.
I don't understand what, like, we all watched it. It was a good time. We're gonna make fun of him for fighting an old man because at the end of the day, that's what it was. The training montages look great. They also could have been from 2 years ago. We also got to remember he got sick last year to the point where in the documentary he was talking about he might die. Like there's like all these conspiracies about what the no, it played out how it was supposed to. Like an old man fighting a 27-year-old. Yeah, 30 years ago, Tyson would have knocked him out. Like this wouldn't have been a conversation. But they sold you something, and that's it.
Yeah, no, and again, we all wanted to see it happen.
And guess what, Llama? We're gonna talk about this again when he fights again. No matter what people are saying now, we're gonna talk about this again because it's gonna be a topic again, and people are gonna. You think 64 million people watch him? At least half, which is 30 million, won't watch him again. Like we gotta be realistic. Like this kid is doing good things now. If he wants to continue to box, and I keep saying this every time we talk about him, it's like you got to start fighting real boxers at some point. If you really want to the chatter to shut up, or just keep doing what you're doing and sell these spectacles and let the people hate on you the whole time and whatever, have the stipulations and all that. He's not, the kid's a YouTuber and he's doing really good. And obviously people are going to watch him no matter what. And they're going to watch him for him to lose. It's like kind of like the opposite of Mayweather, where Mayweather was wanting to lose because he was so good. I feel like people want to say Jake Paul's so bad they want to see him lose, but he keeps winning because he keeps putting himself in favorable positions. Like
that's true. That's true. And yeah, you tune in to say, is this going to be the time that he just fucking eats it? and Tyson was that opportunity for us that hated Jake Paul. So, and Tyson let us down.
I just think dude, he was 58. There was no chance he was winning this fight. Like I truly believe that. Like a part of me wanted to be like as a fan, I was like, yeah, Tyson's gonna knock him out. But the guy who watches fights and analyzes, like, but let's be real, like this is gonna go to a decision, or Jake's gonna knock him out. If Tyson looked good, I think Jake puts a pressure on him to try to like finish the fight. I think it's a more exciting fight. But the fact that Tyson didn't look as good the whole way through, it was like at some point you're just like kind of cruising, you know what I mean? It's like, all right. This is what, again, it turned into a glorified sparring match. That's all it was. Now the fight beforehand was I feel like the people who hate on Jake Paul for not being a boxer or not fighting boxers, just watch the fight before with the two women and get your boxing fix there, and then understand the next fight is a spectacle, and you just turn your boxing brain off. Like they got to, it's like they're giving you real boxers real things to look at, and then the spectacle. It's like I feel like it's a win-win because again, for women's boxing, those are two of the best in the world on the the biggest stage of the year so far. That has to be the most eyes on anything this year.
Right, and they're making a name for those two individuals. Like now, their names are known.
It elevates women's boxing as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, again, say what you want about the fight, hate on him. The kids bringing light to the sport that really was dying. It's just the truth. Yeah. Nobody's a real pure boxing fan unless they're like grandfathered in. I feel like at this point, it's like. They remember going to fights when they were young. They remember all, but like nobody's a real boxing fan. And you see that, like, I mean, I remember like the Canelo Floyd fight when I was in New York. And like it was on fucking Cinco de Mayo. It was like I remember these moments. My parents growing up through a lot of like fight nights. Ironically enough, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson felt like that old spectacle. Like everybody wanted to watch it. Which was dope. Yeah. And it was kind of cool because it was on a Friday. Usually fights are on Saturday. And obviously, if Jon Jones fought the same day, it wouldn't have been that same spectacle. You know what I'm saying? I think they did a real smart move doing it the day before because it was like a whole fight weekend. You know what I mean? Like a very exciting fight weekend for like somebody who watches a lot of fight media. It was like, this is going to be a good week. Like obviously you want to see what happens with the Jake Paul, but then Jon Jones and Stipe fighting, like
Oh yeah.
that had. I mean, I did a whole fucking watch party last night on it. It was a good weekend, man.
No,
I don't know, I think it
was.
was a W for Jake Paul and what they're doing. To be honest, like I I don't think there was, as bad as the production was, I don't think there was a bad thing about it because again, you kind of needed this test. So now things like WrestleMania, things like the football games will be okay going forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, it for me, it might put some doubt in my mind, but again, we'll see. That they know better. They know what they're dealing with in terms of the products. So, but
But why do you think that why does it put doubt?
it puts doubt. Again, it's not an issue that you can't fix, right? It's a server issue. It's a VPN issue. They're already talking about what the fixes are in terms of the volume of people who are watching the streams and what they weren't prepared for, or what happened. So it's not anything that you can't like add more servers, add more bandwidth, and have it all ready to go. So it was just a test, like you said, it's a test of what's the capacity on Netflix's live server. It failed, and
You
so
know, you know,
when if
games, you know, games send out betas for that exact reason. You know what I mean?
right,
Like this
right,
was a
right,
beta. Now, and it not only was it a beta, but it happened to be the most played beta all year.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't. I don't think they anticipated that kind of numbers. I'm sure it was
right,
like probably tracking a lot, but like I said, it felt like one of those old school fight nights where everybody was locked in and everybody kind of. I mean, whether people are paying for Netflix or not, everybody got Netflix. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Or access to.
Right, right, and so there were That's what I'm saying. There was a VPN issue I know that was reported, not by Netflix. I'm just saying there was in that I had read about that people were using VPNs and backends like to log into Netflix, and they had overloaded certain area servers. So you had this influx of people just crashing certain servers, not on purpose, just like it just happened. And so, and that's a thing that I don't think they expected. So it for the most part, like I said, it just, and then the other thing is what people didn't anticipate is, and what Netflix didn't anticipate is the quality that comes through on the person's internet. So, for example, if you had a more reliable service and you had a dedicated connection, you probably had buffering issues, but you didn't have as bad as somebody who has like just say a standard connection. So like some people like really were watching pixelated images where some were getting some buffering. So like the experience wasn't only at Netflix's issue, it was also on the user side. But again, how do you fix that, right? Netflix, that's a Netflix issue also, even though it's a user's issue. That's just something you got to anticipate. But again, it was a test run
It
and
happens
it
on
happened.
Switch.
Oh yeah,
And like
all the time.
a
All the
couple
time.
years ago, Twitch would like, especially when streams would go crazy in the Fortnite
Oh yeah.
era, like that just happens. So again, they wouldn't know what they need to fix if this didn't happen this way. And I guarantee one, I don't think they're gonna put another event that's putting this many eyes, unless I don't think it's gonna happen within, let's say, the next year. Let's say maybe next year there'll be another event that's this big, but they have all this data. It's not gonna happen again, guaranteed. No matter how big it is, guaranteed. Like
they usually know how to fix the issue once it's happened. Like that's not a
bro. There's no movie on Netflix or no show on Netflix that broke that number.
no
At one
really.
time. You know what I'm saying? For hours. It was how many hours was that fight card? Probably like 4 or 5 hours of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that again, I just feel like I don't know, it's hard to say because it's like you kind of have to expect something, especially at that magnitude. You know what I mean? Like again, when COD betas come out, they're not the perfect game. Servers are fucking up all the time because as much as they test it indoors, until you get that many people on it, you don't really know how strong it is, what needs to get tweaked, like
Exactly. And then how does the game react in the live environment with a million users? Like that's also a big difference too. So no, interesting for sure, and good conversation. Now again, I don't want to cut the UFC discussion short. I did watch the highlights of the Jon Jones Stipe fight, and I didn't realize that. I got this from my son. He was giving me the whole history. I didn't realize Stipe was not regularly fighting. He's been on and off. Is that the
No,
or
he
is
just hasn't fought since
he hasn't fought for a while?
yeah, since COVID.
Oh, okay. But then he came back and then he's retiring now. He's done. But that kick that he took to the ribs, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean it was a good fight. John just looked
Yeah.
really good.
He did
Stipe
look
got
good.
beat.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked. I mean, I would say, in terms of his movement and everything, he just looked great. I mean, he just looked great. He looked like he was in good shape. And
Yeah.
from watching the highlights and watching some of the fight back, he's impressive, man. He's an impressive guy. And again, I don't watch a lot of his fights, and yeah. So I'm just like, man, this guy. I should watch more of his stuff, but just trying to figure out what happened. But then again, when I saw that kick, man, I said, God damn! Like they slowed it down. They showed it in 10 different angles, and then the guy's like, I'm retiring. I was like, that's almost like a comical meme or anything. I'm like, shit, you kicked me that hard.
He was gonna
I
retire
retire in a
regardless.
second.
Whether
Was he?
won yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bro,
So if he won,
he's a full-time firefighter.
right? That's what
Right
I
now.
heard.
Yeah. Full-time
Yeah.
firefighter and just became a full-time firefighter like last year or something or this year. So that's his end goal realistically. But he's old as fuck too. He's like 40 or something. I'm pretty sure. Or he might
What's
be-
a
I'm pretty sure he might be like 40. He's
what's
older
a
though.
payday? What's a payday for him in this fight? Do you know?
I don't know.
It's not much, is it? Or no? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's not.
Yes.
No, I'm not
He's
talking
the
about.
greatest heavyweight of all time. Well, he was. Now John is. But he was before considered the greatest heavyweight of UFC history. He defended the
Right.
belt 3 times. He's a 2-time champ. I think it's just this fight would have happened maybe last year when it was scheduled, because it was scheduled last year.
Mhm.
It might have been, I don't want to say it's a different fight because John looked really good. And I think John had a really good game plan. But I also think like John had a lot of time to prepare for this one fight. And he utilized like a lot of front kicks to the body. Basically, Stipe beat another fighter, Daniel Cormier, with a lot of body shots, and he kind of took that game plan and implemented it on Stipe. But yeah, I think if Stipe would have won, he would have retired anyways, because he hasn't fought since COVID. This is kind of like was his chance to try to get the belt back. And he said, he was like, I'm only fighting for the belt the whole time he was waiting, because John got hurt. He could have fought Tom Aspinall, who's the interim champion right now, which the heavyweight right now is kind of like all over the place. But yeah. So it was kind of like known he was gonna retire, even though he didn't say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right. So let's do this, man. Let's do this. I want to. Let me do my quick promo, but I want to show you the surprise for you, because we want to talk about it for a little bit. All right, so just moving on from on the promo side. The Penguin episodes 6, 7, and 8 are on the watch alongs. They've been uploaded. Everything is there. Episodes 7 and 8 will be hitting you guys very, very soon, and then we are resuming our Vampire Diaries with episode 15, and we'll be recording episode 16 this week. So you'll see a watch along come for that. And then we have Elite Squad will be released hopefully this week. We had some issues with copyright with Prisoners, which was released a little bit later, which caused Elite Squad to get delayed. Elite Squad is a Brazilian film, but it's a really, really good film. So hopefully you guys will check that out. All right, man. I did something for you and for me, mostly for me, but for you too. I'm going to share something here, man. I wanted to, first and foremost, I know we've been talking about, this is like, we have to run this like a business, right? We have to say, hey, this is a business. And we behind the scenes, you and I have been talking about how to continue to create and to elevate the show. So I went on this prominent website, and I asked for our show to be recognized on this prominent website, and it got approved. So I want to share that you now have a screen credit on IMDb, my friend.
Oh, nice.
You and I are now officially searchable on IMDb. Our show, our podcast, has its own page. And you have credits as one of the stars, as AD Rivera. And you were also noted as a writer and producer. So you're able now to claim yourself and to add details and information to your IMDb profile. So now we are officially on IMDb. I'm going to be updating and uploading information from each of our podcast episodes as we go. There's only one episode there, and it's just our first one. But there's, you can upload photos. We're there as the top cast, our storyline. I've been updating it, and we do have a review. We have a review from somebody who you might know. But it says here, I know, it says the most consistent show ever. It's our review. I know what you're thinking. Is that the Big Llama Blackout AD? Absolutely. These guys are incredible. Their hot takes are truly a sight to see. And if you're a fan of movies, TV shows, gaming, and current events, then you'll definitely have a good time. They're inclusive, hilarious, always bring a smile and a positive outlook on things. Even when the topics can be heated, they tend to keep a level head and include the chat during the live streams constantly to make it all engaging. I could not thank this team enough for all the good times they've provided over the years. Looking forward to more. This is from Ironside Creations. I don't know if you know who that is.
How he started.
Yeah. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, sir. So I was very excited about this. That's why I was asking you for the stupid selfie, you jackass. I wanted to get your picture on there on your profile. But what I found out is I can't necessarily claim your profile, so you have to claim yourself. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
yeah.
You have an official credit on IMDb, meaning you are now officially noted as a working actor or voice talent. Actor as a. Now again, you can change it. I have it as a. I had it as your official name, and then I changed it to AD Rivera, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell he wants on there, so I leave that up to you.
Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah!
So. No problem. I've been so excited about this, and I was like, I don't know how he'll take this, and I don't know what he wants to do with it, but I was like, you know what? We got to make it official. And so this is one way for the show to make it
have some legitimacy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, when you do a search on our show podcast or our names, IMDb titling comes up right after. So we're hitting the zone, man. We're hitting the
oh yeah.
I wanted to make sure that you knew. And again, it's an appreciation for the work that you and I have done over these years. And the more that I looked at the information, I was like, from 2021 until now, we've been on the show. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy,
man. Consistently.
Yeah. And then the filming locations, Denver, Colorado. I don't, I was like, all right, our budget $50 estimated, and people can contribute and so on and so forth. So, and then if you click on your name, I did give you a bio. I'll read it to you here, or I'll show you here what I wrote. So, I wrote a lot. So
I see that, dude. What the hell?
Hey, man.
You gonna try to make me cry, dude? That's not gonna
I'm
work.
not. Well, I listen. This is what I appreciate you, and I appreciate our partnership. So I was like, let me write something that gives him at least what I think in terms of how this whole thing works, right? So wrote a little something. You can read it you know, I'm not gonna unless you want me to read it on the air here, but
No, I'll read it later, man.
okay, just take a look at it.
Kind of
So,
personal, dude.
well,
Like
I
you're
mean,
flirting with me online. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
but yeah, you see, you've got an actor credit, you've got a writer credit, a producer credit.
Oh yeah.
And did you know his nickname is Blackout AD? So you got a lot of good stuff in here. And then I started tinkering with my stuff too. And I was like, man, this is pretty neat. But again, it was more so that we have, again, a legitimate like
Yeah.
view on the site, right?
This
And that
guy
we
used
have,
his one acting role.
I did. I put my one acting credit on there.
That's hilarious.
Hey, I'm known for that.
Man,
So
it's dope, man.
yeah,
I appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. So I figured I had to share that with you, man, because it did take approval. So like
I'm one step closer to my Marvel credit, dude.
Exactly. Now actually you can actually be found on a search database for actors depending on like criteria you put in there. You do a whole profile. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. You're one step closer to being picked up. And anyway, so but the more stuff that we do, I think the more that, you know, if we do any other shows or it's going to be interesting to have that there. And I'm going to try to get more on there. But yeah, I had to submit like a whole like justification, like why our show should be listed. Like, do we have a series? I had to set up or send in our website information, our podcast info, how many episodes. Like I had to do a whole, you know, like listed out thing, and it got approved. And I was like, holy shit. And it got approved. And then once it got approved, I was so excited. I actually messaged Herc first. I said, I can't tell him now. I said, but I got to tell somebody because my head's going to fucking explode. And I told my wife and my kids and everything. I showed them and they were like, eh. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a big fucking deal. Like you guys, this is IMDb. Like I'm on there with fucking Charlize Theron, guys. Bitches. And then
they're not gonna give you your praise until you're gone, brother. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly,
That's a little morbid. No, but on the real, I mean, until you get like a real credit where they want to see you or something, that's when you get the respect. But truthfully, I mean, I'm kind of downplaying it, but it is kind of, to me, it's kind of dope. Like you said, you know, like my mind immediately went to like, what show can I get on and put under there? You know, like
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I started thinking about, man, what other thing have I done that I can put on here that you know, I need to start sprinkling in different things I've done. But no, again, I wanted to show you a little bit of appreciation. And it's again a true partnership that we've been working on this stuff, and again this kind of legitimizes the show even more because I think we talked about it. Like if you Google search us now, we're everywhere. Our pictures are everywhere.
Your channel has almost 3 million views, dude.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. That's
not a little bit.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like we're slowly working towards the business perspective of this show. And so this was one of those steps that I go, this is just yet another step forward for us. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew how much I appreciated you and how much this means to me. Yeah. And again, this is the weirdest part, right? I'm actually putting my real name associated with the show, along with like, you know, so I'm like, I've taken now the leap of faith to say I am proud of the show and the things that I do, that I don't care anymore how my real name is association with it. So my real name is now there along. And again, I am the character, the Big Llama, right? But we're one and the same. I know that. I'm just saying it's now more that I believe in it so much that I am now putting out my info to say, contact me, let me know if you got something for me. And again, you and I have done this together. So it's been since 2021 and it's been awesome. And that's why I made sure that episode 1, the one that started it all, or the Mortal Kombat review, was the one that I put in there first for this show today. Is like, because I want you to see that, like, hey, that was the one that started it all, and it's kind of the way it's been. So anyway, so that was my big surprise for you, man. So
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, so yeah, I want you to check it out, man. Claim your name, claim your 100%. Information, and then start sharing that shit, man. Because that's I was like, so I haven't been able to, like, you know me, man. The second I do something, I want to put it all over fucking Twitter and everything else, but I haven't. I've kept it quiet, under wraps. All right, man. You have anything else, man? I think that was. Shit, we're running out of time. The Penguin, the finale. We don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but that show was fucking.
It was fucked up.
I've watched now.
That shit was fucked up.
I've watched the end of that episode probably 4 or 5 times now, and I've watched other reactors react to it 4 or 5 times. Like I've watched. I want to see what other people think, and it's crazy. The show is just phenomenal.
I agree.
Phenomenal show.
I'm from top to bottom, right? Like,
yeah,
it didn't have. I mean, there was. I have to say it, but there was only one episode that I was kind of like, and it was still a really good. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't a really good episode, but I think most people kind of thought it was a good episode. So, like, out of the whole series, to have one episode kind of be an iffy episode, I think they did probably as best as they can. You know what I mean? Like, it sets up the Batman 2. It kind of does everything you needed it to do. And I think it, like, it's weird because I've noticed, like, our numbers are down on the reactions, but I also noticed, like, a lot of people's numbers are down, and, like, people kind of feel like on the internet it's not being talked about enough. But I think, like, now that it's got a lot of good word of mouth, I think it'll be one of those shows that throughout the years will grow and be like, wow. Besides a show itself, it's, like, very watchable. And if they have a season 2 that's just as good, like, this could be a good limited series that from top to bottom could be, I don't know. And it also brings a different audience, I think. This show will be.
Yeah. Well, the audience watching it now are the true comic book fans, or the ones that, really are into it. The ones that are going to be watching it now that the show is over and hearing how good it is now more of the TV people, like, that really like good shows and like, oh, I heard about this show, it's really good, I'll watch it. I heard it on Howard Stern. He just finished watching it, so he's, like, telling all his listeners, like, you gotta watch this fucking show. And now my wife, because he said it, wants to watch the show. My kids now want to watch the show because they've heard their friends talking about it. They watched the first episode and they were like, it's a little slow for me. And I'm like, and I said, all right, it is what it is. And then I got to episode 5 and I was like, guys, you have to watch this fucking show. And they're like, the first episode was slow. Now that it's ended and everyone's talking about it, they're like, we want to watch the show now. Yeah. Everyone's saying it's a great show. I'm like, yeah, it is.
We've been saying it for weeks.
Exactly. So no, I think you're right. I think the popularity of it will grow, and I think as we get closer to Emmy season, people were talking about that already too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good performances. Like,
oh yeah,
obviously Colin Farrell, but then I always forget her name, but the Hangman, her performance throughout the show, like she really took over scenes. You know what I mean? Especially, like, something I didn't really mention in the reaction that I kind of wanted to mention was that in the scene when she's, like, talking to him, I don't know, it felt very cartoony when she had him tied up and the mom was there and they were kind of, like, getting, he realizes the mom knows. When she was, like, kind of, like, prodding him, it felt like a very cartoony scene because of her eyes and the way she was acting. I was like, yeah, she's got to win something for this role, because, like, you literally watched her. I mean, you've seen multiple sides of that character. You know what I mean? You saw the side before she went into Arkham. You saw while she was into Arkham. You saw while she was adjusting, coming back from, like, Arkham and, like, trying to adjust back into her family. Then you saw her become who she truly is now, going through all those experiences. Like, I think they're going to win a lot of shit. And I don't think there's a show that's I don't think there's been a show in the last, I want to say 3 years that's this well put together. You know what I mean? Like again, top to bottom, the show is good. From how it looks, how it feels, it drags you into the world instantly. The acting's on point. They make you feel. It makes you feel shit. It makes you feel disgust in a lot of ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like you feel all the emotions for multiple characters. Where it's like, wow, I really don't. And honestly, the last episode threw me for a loop. It wasn't anywhere I envisioned it going. So there's also that aspect, you know.
Yeah, no, everything you thought it was going to be, it wasn't, and it was like, and you loved it even more. So, no, for sure. So if you haven't watched The Penguin, go watch The Penguin. Watch our reactions to it as well. Again, all of our reactions are on Patreon, our watch-alongs, and then episode 7 and 8 will be out shortly this week. So look out for those as well. So very, very excited. Those are our topics tonight. A couple of things for everybody. Again, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you guys like the show, like the channels. Make sure you guys check out all our stuff. Check us out on social media. And now that you guys know, go to IMDb and rate us on IMDb. Give us a favorable rating there, and let everybody know about the Big Llama Show, or the Big Llama Show podcast featuring Blackout AD. That is the official name that is on IMDb. So very excited about that. So guys, thank you guys for another awesome Sunday night. Thank you, Blackout AD, for another Sunday night. Episode 178, another eventful week. Thank you guys. Oh, thank you to Blackout J Birdie. I saw that's his new handle.
This is his new handle, yeah.
I saw that. Finally. Thank you to Jay Birdie for filling in last week while I was on a cruise. Thank you, AD, for stepping in on the host seat for sure. Appreciate all of you guys that keep the show running while I'm out. But I just want to say I absolutely love this show. I love everything about it. And thank you guys. We'll see you guys next Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Big Llama Show Sunday Night Live Stream. I am the Big Llama. He is Blackout AD. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next week.